Welcome back to Rockingham for round 10 of the Tillotson Formula Vee Championship, and the top two drivers in the points not here this weekend, so no Paul Smith and no Martin Farmer. Yesterday Peter Belzy looked to be on course for his first ever Formula Vee win, but Ben Anderson snatched the honours on the very last lap, and Anderson lines up on pole position next to Craig Pollard, the first time he has been on the front row. Out go the red lights, away we go, and it's a good start from the two men on the second row of the grid. Steve-O there trying to squeeze in between the two front row men, but no such problems for Graham Gant in the yellow Wev. He has got the lead of the race away then as they go through turn one for the first time. It looks like Steve-O has just about snuck into second place, but you can see here how the cars can fan out 4 or 5 abreast down into Dean Hairpin for the first time. It's Gant that leads, O is second, and Anderson I think in third place. Through this left-handed hairpin then, and then up towards the right-hander at Yentwood. And look, it's all getting a little bit tight there. Someone locking up, that may have been Ian Jordan, the Class B Championship leader. There though is Steve-O in second place. Right behind him is Ben Anderson as they head through Piff Paff for the first time. Well, Anderson had that win yesterday, but this is actually going to be his last ever Formula Vee race as he locks up there. He's acquired the ex-Stuart Goff Ray and is going to go Formula Ford 1600 racing. So down the steel straight towards Gracelands they come then. The car sweeping through. It's Peter Belzy there in the number 5 car who led so much of yesterday's race, that's trying to put some pressure on number 92 Craig Pollard as they make their way into Tarzan Hairpin now, having a look down the inside. Can he go through? Different lines being taken, lots of space making that possible here. Paul Taylor and the other black GAC with the white engine cover on the rear of it, he's involved as well. And along the straight, look, the Spider, the ex-Jez Clark Championship winning car of Peter Belzy, is able to go through into 4th position then. Pollard goes down to 5th, it's Taylor in 6th place, but meanwhile for the lead of the race, that big lead that Graham Gant had has been completely eaten away by Steve-O, and it's 3 cars for the lead. It's Gant from O from Anderson. Remember, Gant was onto the podium last time out at Donington Park. He finished in 3rd position there. He lies 8th in the championship coming into this weekend. By comparison, Steve-O is 4th. Anderson well down the order in 10th, but he's had more non-finishes than he's had finishes this year. 5 DNFs out of 8 starts. And Belzy, having got past Pollard, he's really in the 3 leaders as well, so very shortly it could be 4 for the lead. A spin there at Dean Hairpin for number 27. That's Alan Robinson in the AHS Dominator. He gets going again though, as through Piff Paff come the leaders. It is now 4 cars scrapping through to the lead at Kirby. Goes Steve-O. The Yorkshireman takes the lead away from number 9. That's Graham Gant as they make their way out of Kirby now. And it's not a 4-car battle for the lead anymore. It's pretty much a 6 or 7-car battle now, because they've all tripped over one another, and it's getting very close indeed. Belzy now has gone 3rd, Anderson down to 4th, and a spinner in the background there as well. We'll pick up who that was in a moment, but down towards the hairpin at Tarzan they go, and it is still Steve-O that leads this race then, from Graham Gant in 2nd, who led the first lap, and then yesterday's race leader Peter Belzy is in 3rd position. Back onto the banking they go then for the second time, the completion of 2 laps, and the car there into the gravel. That's Tim Probert, isn't it? Number 53, he was our spinner on the way out of Gracelands. Side by side for the lead, and it's Graham Gant that goes back through it. Dean Hairpin, brilliant move that, but can Steve-O come back on the exit? Meanwhile, Ben Anderson is taking a completely different line to everybody else. He goes very wide, but it doesn't seem to have worked out too badly for him. He's still there. Well, he's back into 3rd place now, isn't he? Ahead of Belzy. It's Ian Jordan that's in 5th. Better run up towards Chapman for Peter Belzy, but Anderson can hold on to 3rd. But meanwhile, it is Steve-O that's got back into the lead of the race. Fantastic stuff this from Formula Vee. We've not seen a Formula Vee race like this for a very long time. They used to be always like this, lots of slipstreaming action, as Anderson there in danger of losing a place to Peter Belzy here as they come down Steel Straight towards Gracelands into that yellow flag zone, because there's the car off that belongs to Tim Probert, the Yorkshireman, whose race has lasted only a lap and a half. In yesterday's race, Tim finished 6th overall in his Storm, Here come the leaders, this snarling pack there as well, that involves at the back of the group Paul Taylor. Just ahead of him is Craig Pollard. There's Steve Bailey, car number 15, the 50-year-old from Cuffley, the owner of Truck Storage and House Removals Company. He's having a good dice further down the order, but here come the leaders, and Steve-O has managed to pull out a bit more of a gap this time. There is Ben Anderson in third place, retiring from Formula Vee racing very shortly. He'll be aiming to go out on a high. A double win would do him very nicely indeed. Peter Belzy in the green Spider there was starting to attack Ian Jordan for fourth position. Down towards the hairpin they've gone. It's Jordan on the inside, Belzy on the outside line. Pollard there, who started on the front row, he's back in sixth position. But Craig, who's 20 years of age from Diss, he's been pretty consistent this season, did have that DNF last time out at Donington Park though, ending up in the gravel at Coppice Corner. So Anderson, Jordan and Belzy is the order of this little group. They've just lost a little bit of ground now to the top two, Steve-O and Graham Gant. But Anderson will be keen to get back on terms, and he does seem to have a bit more speed through Kirby than Graham Gant. As into the pit lane has come Steve Bailey, as you can see on the inset. Down Steel Straight then, in towards Gracelands they go. Pollard now venturing a look there on the inside of Peter Belzy. They go past that stricken Tim Probert car. Anderson, they look how he is back with Graham Gant, and it just seems to me that Gant doesn't carry as much speed through the slow Kirby corner, up at the top of the circuit, the far end away from the grandstands here at Rockingham. And this is the number 91 car, which is Anthony Mitchell. It's his Ray, turning his way through Dean Hairpin now. Up towards Yentwood he goes. As here come the leaders, and Steve-O has dropped back a little bit, hasn't he? He's dropped back down to fourth position now. It's Gant that leads, Anderson second, Belzy in third place, and Belzy is going to have a look around the outside, is he, as they make their way down towards Dean Hairpin. Absolutely side by side, brilliant stuff. This Anderson holds on, turns his way through Dean Hairpin now. So it's Gant leading, Anderson second, Belzy third, but Belzy's not given up. Thinks about another look into Yentwood that time. Oh, back in fourth place, but he was leading the race not so very long ago. The other driver that's made up some ground during the course of this race is Daniel Burton. He started a bit further back on the grid, on row 9 in fact, and has done well to get himself up into the top 8. Through Kirby and back onto the Steel Straight, and again you could see how Ben Anderson was superior through that part of the circuit than Graham Gant. He's not done him much good this time though, and round Gracelands Peter Belzy's going to try and look around the outside. And then he tucks back in, maybe about to launch another attack at Tarzan Hairpin. Takes the deep line into the corner, the tight line out of the corner. We've seen that Spider is pretty useful in a straight line, so can he out-drag Ben Anderson on the run to Brook Chicane? He's going to be on the outside line though. Ben Anderson has the advantage, takes the inside line. Anderson for the moment holds on as they head back onto the turn 4 banking. This is the last lap of the race now. It's still Gant that leads from Anderson and Peter Belzy. They've pulled out a little bit more of a gap over the rest of the field now. Belzy just taking to the apron there to get alongside Ben Anderson. Down towards Dean Hairpin. Who's going to emerge from this corner in front? It looks like it's going to be Anderson. And it's side by side further back as well. It's Pollard and Owen. There's Daniel Burton up from the back of the grid. Up now into fifth position because he's side by side with Pete. Steve-O can't make it work yet. Has another look on the inside at the right hander at Yentwood. Well, it's still sixth then just for Daniel Burton, but he briefly got his nose ahead of Steve-O for fifth position. Pollard there in fourth, just getting away a little bit now because Steve is having to drive that bit more defensively, not wanting to give away any more places. He's given away enough. He was in the lead of the race, of course. Down at Kirby they go. Ian Jordan is also involved, and so is Paul Taylor. It's really 4 cars battling now over fifth position. Down towards Gracelands they go. The leaders already out of Gracelands and towards Tarzan Corner. They're coming up to one of the slower cars now. Anderson thinks about looking at the yellow car of Graham Gant there, but can't make it through. It's going to be Chris Wilshire, I think, that's going to keep well out of the way of the race leaders as they come past us then towards Brook Chicane for the final time. It looks like Graham Gant is going to do it and get his first win of the season in the Tillotson Formula Vee Championship. It's going to be second to Ben Anderson, third to Peter Belsey. Checkered flag goes out. Yes, that order is confirmed, and it's Graham Gant in the web that takes the win, and he is absolutely delighted with that. But look at this further back. It's going to be Burton that gets fifth, and just getting sixth place in the end, Ian Jordan. Well, here's the confirmation of that. Graham Gant getting the win, but the fastest lap went to the man in second place. That was Ben Anderson. Peter Belsey third and Craig Pollard's fourth puts him second in the point standings now, behind Paul Smith. Fifth was Daniel Burton, and sixth was the Class B winner, Ian Jordan.
Graham Gant taking the victory today in Formula Vee, but the pressure was definitely on during that race.
Yes, I struggled a bit around the slower areas of the track, but I knew I had an advantage on the straight, and I used it to my most to keep in front, and as a tactic it worked very well. So I hadn't been testing here on Friday, so I came in yesterday raw. That showed in race one yesterday. I managed to spin onto the main straight, which obviously gave me a pretty poor position yesterday, but made up for it today. Good start off the line, and used the speed advantage down the straight to keep me in front, and that's all we needed to do.
And it's your first victory in Formula Vee, and your first victory since what year?
1982, when I raced many years ago, before my family and mortgages took over. I came back into Vee in 2000. I came into Vee in 2009, and it's taken a long while to get to the front, but it's proved worth it today.
Ben, another good result there in the Formula Vee race. You definitely tried your best to put the pressure on Graham, though.
Yeah, I was trying very hard. As you can see, I'm sweating and I've got a big blister on my hand. Graham drove well. He kept it pointing the right way today, which made all the difference. And I was quicker than him around the infield part of the circuit, but he had the legs on me down the straight. I'd come out of the last corner and he'd just drive away from me. And it made it very difficult to get close enough to try something. And I was on the grass at one point, trying to keep my foot in. Obviously, I had Pete to worry about behind. And I was hoping to finish with a double win, especially after winning yesterday, but it wasn't to be. But I've had a good race, and now I've evened out my finishing record for the season, so I can't be too unhappy with that.
And Rockingham has proved that you can overtake around here, because there's plenty of that going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a circuit that I thought would be well suited to the Formula, because you've got such a long drag from the last corner to the first hairpin, and so it proved. I mean, both races were really close and all about slipstreaming, which is how it should be.
Peter, finishing third in that one. You're a man who once again tried to put the pressure on, but the two guys ahead kind of had it.
Yeah, it was very close at the front, and got alongside Ben at least 2 or 3 times, but just couldn't pull off that pass. It was really close, but brilliant fun.
The conditions today much more better for you, because the car probably handles a little bit better as well.
Yeah, a bit cooler. Both air temperature and track temperature definitely suited the cars. It's quite hard on the cars, this track, so I think the cars were happy for it to be a bit cooler. So yeah.
A few more rounds to come. You've got to start building these championship points up now.
Yeah, not many left now, but I've got no idea where I am in the championship, but have to start thinking about it a little bit, because I wasn't really expecting to be contesting at all, but I've stacked up a couple of points this weekend, so it's all good.
Well, I'm Peter on third.
Thank you very much.
We've still got 3 more races to come here at Rockingham, so join us after the break for the all-comers event.